Will a new lamp breathe new life into an old Dell video projector? I'll find out and take measurements with a light meter that's coming up on ThriftyAV. Back when I did Risky Thrifting Volume 7, I found this Dell projector at a thrift store and purchased it. And I said that it worked, and it did work, but it was pretty dim. I had to totally turn all the lights off in the room to see what was going on with that projector. And that's not how projectors are supposed to work. You're supposed to be able to see them in a fully lit room, and I really couldn't with this projector. So I ordered a new lamp for it right after that. But, you know, I never installed that lamp. Sometimes things end up on the round to it list, and that's one of them. Well, I am going to install a new lamp into this projector. I'm going to measure it with my Ursery light meter here before and after installing the new lamp and see if the new lamp makes a difference. Let's get started. I want to talk about my setup for this experiment. I have a white piece of poster board clipped to my equipment rack. That's what I'm projecting on. You see color bars there. Those are coming out of my Panasonic HCX 1000. It's being fed via HDMI into the HDMI input on the Dell projector. This Dell projector has the original bulb in it. The lens on the projector is 3 feet away from the poster board, and my light meter is 4 feet away from the poster board. There is going to be some light leakage through the window, but those blinds are shut with a sheet over it, so light leakage will be minimal, and it'll be about the same for the before and the after when I test this. This camera over here, it's just for my thumbnails. These are going to be turned off during the experiment. All right, going into the menu on the projector, I'm not going to use auto adjust. I'm going to pick my own adjustments. Going into picture, I'm going to use presentation mode, which the brightness is 48 and the contrast is 54. On the advanced settings, I think it's probably easiest to leave everything at default, which the white intensity was at 10. Color temperature was mid. Everything is centered up on RG and B. All right, lights are off and it's pretty dark in this room. Now the auto gain is making it look brighter than it really is. That is really not much leakage coming out of the window there. The light meter is saying 4.6 lux. Occasionally it'll fluctuate up or down. Okay, it's generally staying around 4.6 lux. All right, I'm now going to power this projector off. And I have to hit that button twice. The fan stays on for a little while because it has to cool down. So I'm going to let this cool down. I'm going to turn the room lights on while I do that. Okay, access to the lamp is under this plate here, and I wasn't rolling when I loosened those 2 screws up. But you have to lift up on that plate, and then I believe this is where the lamp's going to be housed. I might have to unscrew some stuff here. Maybe this. That came loose. Will this just lift out of there? All right, there's a little metal handle here that I'm supposed to pull straight up on. There it goes. All right, here is the projector lamp that I bought. It's aftermarket. It appears to be a match. Now I let this thing cool down for about 20 minutes. I don't know if that was quite long enough, but it is still a little bit warm here. So maybe I should have waited a little more than 20 minutes. All right, that came kind of loose. I want to make sure and put that little frame piece back where it belongs. Okay, now I want to disconnect 2 wires here, and I want to keep track of which one's which. Looks like the longest wire goes on the top. The shorter wire goes on the bottom. Probably should have done this first. And there is a little metal housing there around the lamp. Clip in there. There we go. Now that took a little doing, but I got it loose. Hopefully I'll be able to reconnect it the same way I got it out. Now I don't want to touch that mercury lamp. I definitely don't want to get any finger grease on this thing. But I want to pop this out of its little clip here. All right, I got that out. When I took this apart, I didn't take it apart quite right, I don't think, because I didn't realize where this goes. It goes between the lamp and this outer shell here. So I need to put the lamp in before I put this outer shell on it. So let's get it inside here. And I need to not touch the mercury lamp because that would be a big no-no. And hopefully when it's positioned right, it'll feel right. Ooh, that felt right. So it is now snapped into the correct position. Now I'm going to put this outer housing on here. And I took the rubber piece off just so it's easier to deal with. Well, okay. And then this only fits on there one way, and it kind of clips into place when it's on there. Now I don't want to screw all these in, but I definitely want to at least screw one of these in to keep this thing in position. One thing about these magnetic screwdrivers is you can kind of get them started. Okay, before I go too far along in this process, I want to take this piece that's on the other side and get it into position. And I believe it needs to go underneath right there. Two more to go. The final one's going to go here, except it's not lining up perfectly. There we go. Now I want to reconnect the power leads to this lamp. Now I think maybe I should have put this rubber piece on before I put this housing on here. I'll pry this off of the lamp just a little bit. Okay, so I was able to snug up this little rubber piece after I put this on. I probably should have tried to put the rubber piece on before I tightened everything down, but it seems to be working now. Let's dust this out. This was kind of hard to pull out because the power connection was a little bit snug. So going the opposite direction, I'm going to make sure that I snug those back down. Okay, now I want to make sure that these screws line up here. I'm going to try this one first. And I caught a thread. I'm going to try this one. And I caught a thread, and I'm going to take my puller and clip it back down. When you put the plate back on, there's two little notches on this side. Line them up with the two notches on this side. And before I screw it down, I want to clip it in. Just want to make sure everything clips in on all sides of it. Okay, now I'm going to screw it down. Okay, plate's back on. Let's power this thing up and see if she works. Now I want to position everything exactly the same, which I had that positioned on the back of that white line right there. I turned the lights off and I've been letting the projector warm up for a little while. And I'm noticing those color bars are way brighter than they were before. I'll get a reading here shortly. But for now I want to go into the menu on this. I want to make sure I'm using the same picture settings that I did earlier. It is on presentation and the advanced menu is on default exactly like it was earlier. Now I'm seeing some scrolling here. That's just a mismatch of the scan rate of this camera with the projector. But those color bars look good to me. Let's get a light meter reading. Now earlier I was getting 4.6 lux. Now I'm getting 20.3, 20.2, 20, over 20 lux. So this is more than 4 times brighter than it was before. So feeding it a signal of color bars in presentation mode. Before I got a 4.6 lux on my light meter, and after I got 20.3 lux. That is over 4.4 times brighter. So it made a huge difference by installing a new lamp. Now, when I bought that lamp, it was considerably less expensive to buy just the lamp compared to the lamp with the housing. So that's why I went with just the lamp and had to install that lamp into the housing. That was kind of a pain. If you don't want to go through that whole process that I did earlier in this video, I'm also including as an affiliate link the lamp with the housing. You could just swap the whole part out without doing any major, repair on the device. So both links are in the description if you're interested in fixing your Dell 1510 or compatible projector. If you enjoyed this video, let the algo know about it, and remember, stay thrifty, everyone.